Client dinner. Be back late. That was the text she sent. 7 words. No punctuation. No emoji. Not even a "love you" thrown in for politeness. Just cold scheduling, like she was emailing a coworker about picking up the dry cleaning. Amber had been having dinners more often lately. Networking. Team bonding. Late pitches. Always with clients I never heard of. Always wrapped in vague executive lingo that meant nothing. She worked in marketing. And sure, the hours could get long. But she hadn't pulled this many after-hours meetings since the company restructured 6 months ago, and the new VP, Lucas, showed up with his cocky grin and fast-tracked promotions. I didn't accuse her. Didn't call. Didn't question. Instead, I slid the mic under the lining of her handbag 2 days earlier. A button-sized recorder. Voice-activated. Synced to my private drive. Fully silent. She carried it out with her like it was just lip balm and receipts. I watched her heels click across the front porch, one hand balancing her phone, the other adjusting her necklace. The dress? New. Tight. Red. She never wore red to meet clients. Back inside, I waited. Not pacing. Not angry. Just patient. At 8:42 p.m., the file went live. The device picked up motion, then sound. I sat down, put my headphones in, and listened. First, laughter. Hers. Second, a man's voice, confident, smug. Hope you weren't followed, Ms. Executive. Amber's voice, half-whispered. I told him it was a client dinner. He doesn't ask questions. They both laughed. You're good at this, he said. No, she replied. I've just had practice. That line hit harder than anything else. I didn't pause. Didn't breathe. Just listened as she kissed him in the elevator. As she called him babe. As she said she hated lying. But it's not like he's been exciting lately. I didn't close the app. I saved the file. Backed it up 3 ways. Then I opened a blank document and wrote 6 words. She won't see this coming. I didn't call her that night. Didn't wait up. I was in bed before she got home. And when I heard the front door creak open around 1:15 a.m., I didn't move. No questions. No welcome. No sound. Just a man lying still, watching the beginning of someone else's end. I lay there, motionless, when she crept into the bedroom. She moved quietly, like a teenager sneaking back in after curfew. Toothbrush, light off. Not a word. Like if she pretended hard enough, the night didn't happen. She slipped into bed next to me. I felt the edge of her hair brush my shoulder. Felt the slight perfume cloud she hadn't quite scrubbed off. She didn't know I was awake. Didn't know I'd been listening to her whisper to another man in the hallway of the Silvercrest Hotel. Didn't know I'd heard the room door beep open. Didn't know I'd heard her heels click on tile, followed by a moan that didn't belong in any boardroom. In the audio, he asked her if she'd told me. No, she said, he's comfortable. He wouldn't believe it if I did. Comfortable. That's what I was to her. Not loyal. Not invested. Not the man who supported her when she wanted to change careers. Just comfortable, like an old sweater or a piece of furniture. She told him she deserved better. That he challenged her. That I didn't push her to grow. All while he unzipped her dress. I didn't react. Didn't smash anything. Didn't storm out like some cliché from a soap opera. I just got up earlier than usual the next morning. Made coffee. Opened the laptop. And labeled the file, Silvercrest Incident. 11:28 p.m. Then I opened a folder titled Divorce, Active, and began to populate it. She wandered into the kitchen wearing her robe and the same fake smile she gave to clients she secretly hated. Morning, she said, sipping from her mug like she hadn't spent the night with a man who called her, is little risk worth taking. Morning, I replied without looking up. That was it. 2 syllables. But I saw the flicker in her eyes. She felt it, the shift. Like she couldn't name it yet, but her instincts were already bracing. You're up early. Got a lot to sort through. Everything okay? Depends how you define okay. I watched her blink. Just once. Then she smiled like she hadn't heard the edge in my voice. Let me know if you want help. I'll handle it. She lingered in the doorway like she wanted me to say something else. Some signal she was still in control. I gave her none. The rest of the day, I pretended everything was normal. She left for work around 9:15, told me she'd be home after drinks with investors. I said, have a good night. She thought it was permission. It was documentation. I'd already added 2 more files to the folder. Hotel surveillance, Silvercrest lobby. Anonymous invoice for dinner for 2, charged to a corporate card. She thought I was some half asleep, emotionally neutered husband. But what she didn't realize, I had more patience than she had secrets. And I wasn't waiting for her to confess. I was just waiting for the right moment to pull the trigger. She came back late again. Third time that week. Another investor dinner. Another vague explanation over text. No specifics, just enough words to feel legit, but not enough to mean anything. Long night. Worth it though. We'll explain later. A briefcase emoji and a sparkle. Like she was off conquering the world, not sneaking out of hotel elevators with her blouse half-buttoned and her lip gloss smeared from somebody else's mouth. I was on the couch when she walked in. Lights low, the TV humming in the background, not because I was watching, but because silence would have forced her to hear her own footsteps. She froze when she saw me. Didn't expect you to still be up. Didn't expect you to be this late. She slipped off her heels slower than usual. Carefully. Like if she moved gently enough, the guilt wouldn't spill out all over the floor. It ran long. Lucas brought in a potential partner from Denver. Couldn't really dip out. I didn't answer. I just muted the TV. Let the silence bite. Everything okay? She asked after a beat. Just tired. You sure? I'm not the one who looks like she got hit by a 3-course meal and 2 lies. That landed. Her smile faltered. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just saying you look overworked. Because I am. I nodded. Not an agreement, and calculation. Let her keep spinning her web. Let her feel like she still had control of the story. She walked into the kitchen and opened a bottle of wine. Poured a glass like she deserved it. Held it for a second, then turned and leaned against the counter. I know you've been acting off lately. Is something wrong? I tilted my head. Should I be worried about something? No. I don't know. You've been cold. Maybe you've been warm enough for both of us. That made her blink hard. She took a sip. Didn't respond. She thought she was playing chess. But she didn't realize I'd stopped playing the moment I caught her first lie. Now I was just watching. Letting her dig. She went to bed early that night. Didn't try to touch me. Didn't say goodnight. The bed felt lighter. Like something fake had finally peeled itself off the sheets and slithered back into the shadows where it belonged. The next morning, she left a note on the fridge. Out early. Team meeting before the pitch. Dinner again tonight. Don't wait up. Sparkling heart emoji. She thought the heart softened it. All it did was give me another screenshot to file under evidence. Timeline. Thursday. She had no idea what was coming, and I had no intention of warning her. Let her keep dressing up for Lucas. Let her keep sipping wine and telling herself she was leveling up. Because soon, she'd be sipping wine from a cheap apartment, Googling how to explain termination on a resume. The next night, she came home just after 10. Hair pulled up. Smudged lipstick. That same smug energy, the kind you wear when you think you're pulling one over on someone. She smelled like that hotel soap again. The cheap kind that tries to fake luxury. I was in the kitchen. Calm. Quiet. Dinner half packed away like I'd made it for one. Which I had. She breezed in like nothing was wrong. Hey, she chirped, brushing past me for the fridge. Crazy day. You would not believe the drama. I gave her a nod. Waited. They're firing 2 people from our office, she said, grabbing her favorite wine. Total chaos. Nobody knows who yet. But Lucas says there's a list. Interesting, I said, rinsing my plate. Right, she added, pouring. And we've got this Denver deal about to close, so it's just madness. I actually fired 2 people today too, I said, setting the plate on the rack. She turned mid-sip. What? You know that startup we've been funding? One of the projects had some internal conflict. 2 staffers crossed a line. What kind of line? I dried my hands slowly. They were involved. Personally. Lied about it. Made the whole team toxic. Had to go. The room went still. She didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stood there, wine glass frozen halfway to her mouth. That's extreme. Ethics clause. They signed it. I don't tolerate people who mix business with whatever the hell they're sneaking around doing behind closed doors. I turned and met her eyes. If someone lies to me once, I'm done trusting them. She tried to smile. You're intense sometimes. I'm consistent. She stared at me for a second too long. I watched the wheels in her head turn. She couldn't tell if I was bluffing or sending a message. That's the beauty of playing it cold. Let them decide what the silence means. She left her glass half full on the counter. Said she was tired. Went to bed early. I didn't follow. Instead, I opened my laptop, added a timestamp to the file marked Lucas, risk factor, and attached a short note. Subject beginning to panic. Containment imminent. I wasn't playing husband anymore. I was playing executioner. Quiet, precise, and patient enough to wait until the blade landed where it would hurt most. It started with a call to the receptionist. Rita, mid-50s. Smart, quiet. The kind of woman who knew how to keep things off the books if you gave her a reason. I gave her one. I need you to place a confidential envelope on Amber's desk. Needs to be there before lunch. You want me to open it? No, but you'll want to be nearby when she does. Understood. I'd already built the package the night before. Heavy stock black envelope. Thick. Serious. I wanted her to feel the weight before she ever opened it. Inside? A signed divorce petition. No drama. No accusation. Just legal, clean, irreversible. 3 high-resolution color photos. Amber, laughing with Lucas outside the Silvercrest. Lucas holding her waist, kissing her neck in the parking garage. The final photo? The two of them walking into room 804. Timestamped. A printout of one particularly brutal text exchange. He still has no idea. That's what makes it kinda hot. And under it, in red ink. Now he knows. At 11:52 a.m., my phone buzzed. Text from Rita. Envelope delivered. She just walked in. At 12:03. She's reading. Door closed. Whole floor's quiet. 12:11. Coworker knocked to ask about lunch. She didn't answer. At 12:22, Amber finally texted me. Where did you get these? No, hi. No denial. Just straight to fear. At 12:26. Can we talk? Please. At 12:32. I didn't want it to go this far. I let it sit. No reply. Silence is oxygen to guilt. Let her suffocate a bit. At 12:49, she tried calling. Blocked. At 1:10, Eddie texted me. Dude, something just happened. She stormed past the lobby. Red in the face. Holding an envelope like it bit her. Anyone ask? No one had to. She looked like she'd been punched in the soul. Good, I wrote back. That was just the warning shot. By 2:30, Lucas was pulled into a side meeting. Not with Amber. With HR. Apparently, someone had forwarded the photos. And the text log. And the fact that Lucas had pushed for her last promotion after 3 private strategy sessions. At 3:15, Amber left the building. Didn't go back to her desk. Didn't even take her laptop. She just walked out fast, eyes down, one hand clutching that black envelope like a drowning woman gripping driftwood. No one stopped her. No one asked if she was okay. Because when you spend months pretending you're better than everyone, people let you walk alone when it finally catches up. Amber didn't go in the next morning. She stayed in bed longer than usual, eyes open, staring at the ceiling like it owed her an apology. She didn't say a word about the envelope. Didn't ask about the photos. Didn't mention the petition I knew she hadn't signed. Just silence. That shaky, waiting for the next blow kind of silence. At 10:42 a.m., her phone rang. Work line. She stared at it for a second, then answered. This is Amber. She nodded. Said yes once. Then again. Then. I understand. I'll be there in 20. No explanation. She got up, dressed like she was heading to a funeral, and left without even grabbing coffee. I knew what was waiting for her. That envelope didn't just hit her. It hit HR, compliance, and legal. Because someone, not me, had slipped an anonymous email to the board with the photos, the text logs, and a note that simply said, Executive misconduct under performance cover. Timeline. For months. Ask Lucas. Eddie texted me an hour later. Your girl's in a meeting. Big one. Behind closed doors. Legal rep walked in 10 minutes ago. At 12:04 p.m. She came out. And, not crying. Worse. Empty. Like she wasn't even in her own body anymore. Amber didn't come home right away. She drove around. Parked at the edge of a Target lot for an hour and a half. I know because I checked the tracker I'd tagged under her rear bumper when this all started. It wasn't about spying. It was about knowing when the collapse finished caving in. She finally came through the door just before sunset. Hair undone. Face raw. Eyes bloodshot but dry. I didn't say anything. Just turned the page in the book I was holding. She stood there for a second, watching me, trying to find a lifeline that wasn't there. Then, they reassigned me. Sounds like a demotion. They said it's temporary. That's what they tell people before they don't renew their contract. She didn't argue. She just walked to the sink, poured herself a glass of water, and stared out the window like something outside might still save her. They said I violated policy. Did you? Does it matter now? It mattered before you thought you wouldn't get caught. That was the end of it. No screaming. No apology. Just her, standing in a kitchen that no longer felt like hers. And me, already thinking 3 steps ahead. She came home Friday night, expecting things to be quieter. She wasn't wrong. They were. No more questions. No snide remarks. No quiet jabs across the table. Just silence. The kind of silence you hear in a hotel lobby after a fire alarm has cleared the place. Sterile, echoing, and not meant to last. She dropped her purse on the counter. No kiss. No "how was your day?" She was afraid to speak. Afraid she'd trigger whatever was left inside me that hadn't already turned to stone. "You eating tonight?" she asked, voice soft like it hadn't already told another man he'd be better off without me. "Already did. You could have told me. Didn't think you'd be home for it." She didn't reply. She walked past me and toward the bedroom. That's when she saw them. 2 suitcases. Her suitcases. Neatly packed. Labeled. One for clothes. One for documents and personal items. On top, an envelope. Inside it, a rental agreement. Already paid for. 1-month deposit. 1-bedroom loft. Modest. Clean. Close enough to commute. Far enough to think. And a key. She didn't touch them at first. Just stared. Like she was trying to figure out if this was symbolic or if it was exactly what it looked like. Then, "You pack my stuff?" I made sure everything important was in there. Jewelry. Photos. Your work laptop's already in the black bag. "You really think this is it?" "This is it, Amber." She sat down on the edge of the bed like her legs forgot how to hold weight. "You didn't even talk to me. I listened to you. For months. Talking to Lucas. Lying to me. Bragging in texts you didn't think I'd see. There's nothing else I need to hear. So what, that's it? You're just done." I was done the moment you made the first excuse and smiled like I'd believe it. She tried again, tears this time. "I know I screwed up, but I didn't mean for it to get this far. You didn't mean for you to get caught. That's not true. You lied. You cheated. You built your little empire on quicksand. Now it's sinking. I'm not throwing you a rope." She stared at the floor. Said nothing. Just sat there, alone in a room that used to be shared, and now belonged to one person and one future. Not hers. "The lease starts Monday," I added. "You can take the weekend to figure it out. But I need you out by Sunday night." "What happens if I don't?" I looked her in the eyes. "You'll be trespassing, and I'll treat it like any other legal matter, without emotion." She didn't speak again. She just nodded, stood up, and zipped one of the bags. No dramatic speech. No final plea. She'd used all her words up in hotel rooms and Slack threads. And now, she had no voice left where it mattered. By Monday morning, she was gone. Left a note on the kitchen counter. Short. Handwritten. 1 sentence. "I'm sorry I wasn't who I pretended to be." It wasn't an apology. It was a confession without teeth. A way to say something without owning any of it. I didn't reply. Just folded it once. Slid it into a folder marked Final. Filed and forgotten. Eddie texted later that afternoon. "She show up at work today?" "No." Figured. Word is Lucas cleaned out his desk Saturday. HR didn't even wait till Monday. "Cool. She here yet?" "Oh, she heard. Someone from Ops told me she showed up to the garage this morning and her keycard didn't work." Damn. Sat in her car for 45 minutes. Didn't move. It gets worse. That same week, her work email was suspended. Then deactivated. Her company bio, gone. Her LinkedIn header? Changed to exploring new opportunities. Classic. Nobody reposted it. Nobody liked it. 3 connections commented. One was a recruiter bot. One was an old friend who hadn't talked to her since college. The third? Mallory, Lucas's wife. She wrote, "Every opportunity has a price. Hope it was worth it." Amber tried texting Eddie next. "Does he hate me?" Eddie showed me the screen. "He doesn't hate you," Eddie replied. "He's just done playing dumb for people who thought he was stupid." She didn't respond. Didn't text again. Within 10 days of moving out, she'd applied to 6 jobs. Got 0 callbacks. Marketing execs talk. Especially when the woman applying once bragged in her inner circle about leveraging romantic alignment for career acceleration. That quote. It came from a voice message she left for Lucas at 1:47 a.m., right after the Denver trip. I'd kept the audio. Didn't leak it. But I sent it anonymously to 3 hiring managers I knew. Not to ruin her. Just to correct the record. By the 3rd week, she was posting Instagram stories like everything was fine. Coffee mug. Cozy blanket. Inspirational quote on the wall. Sometimes you fall so you can learn how to rise. It got 11 views. 1 comment. You okay? She didn't answer. Because she wasn't. Meanwhile, I was busy. New leads. Better focus. Eddie and I doubled our ad revenue that month. Kate, a colleague from a side project, started stopping by more often. Smart. Steady. Quiet. No games. She never asked about Amber. Just looked at me like I hadn't failed at anything. Amber? She was invisible now. No calls. No meetings. No Lucas. He ghosted her a week after his termination. Blocked her on everything. She tried to call his wife once. Didn't even ring. You know what happens when someone burns their bridges and jumps? They don't land. They sink. And no one dives in after them. 3 weeks after she moved out, Amber's last paycheck hit. No bonus. No severance. No goodbye email. Just a cold, impersonal notification from payroll with the subject line. Final payment processed, termination complete. No one CC'd her. No one replied. That's how it ends when you break your contract and your credibility. She called Eddie again. He didn't answer. So she tried texting me from a burner number. HR offered me a role. Not here. A transfer. Cleveland. It's all they'd give me. I didn't reply. She followed up a day later. I don't know anyone there. I've never even been. It's demotion by exile. Still nothing from me. Because exile is what happens when you've burned every room you ever stepped into. 2 days later, she was gone. Packed the last of her things into his second-hand U-Haul. Didn't even stop by the house. Eddie said he saw her at the gas station on the way out of town. Alone. Sweater sleeves rolled up, pumping gas with one hand, phone in the other. Like she was still waiting for someone to call her back and say, "Never mind, it was all a mistake. Come home." But no one did. Because it wasn't a mistake. It was the inevitable result of her own decisions catching up like a storm she thought she could outrun. Her Cleveland job? Some junior consulting position. Contract only. No benefits. No staff. A coworker of mine from out there forwarded me the onboarding welcome email she received. Subject line. Welcome to support team. Temporary placement. The mighty Amber, now cold seating into a borrowed cubicle between 2 20-somethings running reports she once dismissed as grunt work. She posted once from Cleveland. New apartment. No furniture. Caption. Fresh starts are tough, but I'm tougher. 12 likes. The only comment? A spam bot selling herbal supplements. And that was it. No more uploads. No check-ins. No promotion unlocked announcements. Her climb was over. Not because someone pushed her off the ladder, but because she skipped rungs on the way up, and the whole damn thing collapsed under her feet. Meanwhile, I was back in rhythm. Kate and I launched a second campaign. I started sleeping again, real sleep. Not that fake, shallow coma where your body's still in bed but your brain's pacing the floor. Peace doesn't come when they apologize. It comes when you stop waiting for one. I didn't send the files to her boss. I didn't leak the photos to the board. Didn't scream. Didn't key her car. Didn't post our texts online for the world to see. I just watched. Watch her take the lies, the ego, the little taste of attention she thought she deserved, and stack it all like kindling. Then I waited while she struck the match. And when the fire caught, I didn't run toward it. I walked away. Because some people don't deserve your anger. They deserve your absence. They deserve the silence that follows their collapse, not because you caused it, but because they always assumed you'd be there to pick up the pieces. She thought I'd break. Thought I'd beg. Thought I'd chase her like some wounded dog in a movie where the music swells and everything gets fixed in the rain. But this wasn't a movie. It was real. And in real life, when someone throws away what you built together, you don't salvage it. You bulldoze the ruins. And you build something better without them. Now I sleep. Now I work, and I actually focus. Now I look across the room at a woman who doesn't manipulate, doesn't lie, doesn't ask me to dim down just so she can shine brighter. Kate didn't save me. She just walked in after I did the work of saving myself. Amber? I haven't heard from her in months. I don't block her out of spite. I just never needed to. You can't block someone who's already been erased by their own choices. People ask if I miss her. Here's the truth. I miss the version of her that never existed. The version she sold me, loyal, driven, honest. But the real her? She buried that version herself. In hotel sheets. In office whispers. In every smug little look she gave when she thought she was 10 steps ahead of a man she thought was too weak to know better. She mistook my silence for softness. She forgot that quiet men aren't harmless. They're waiting. I didn't ruin her. I just refused to catch her when she fell. And when she hit the ground, the only sound was the echo of a woman learning too late that not every man is going to save you from yourself.